All right, folks, we are back with another episode of Storyalysis. I am Pierre,
And I'm Chris.
and today we will be discussing The Last of Us episode numéro 3. All
Oh
right.
man, what an angelic voice. What a
What an
beautiful
angelic
voice.
voice. Oh, let's do it. Uh all right, I'm still down. I'm still down because it took my girl away from me, but
Mm,
let's see if I can get through it, man. I don't know if I can make it out Tess, but the writing is still top tier. The story's going well. There's a big void. I don't think anyone can fill it, but let's try to move forward.
well, she does show up later in the episode, so
She
kind of.
does show up later in the episode. Oh, dude, I lit up. Just like I'm black, you can't see it, but I was blushing.
Oh shit.
All right, so we start with Joel Morning. You were telling me
Yes.
a bit like off air, the name for these rocks that he was setting up. I'm assuming in a way to just bid Tess's soul farewell.
Yes. So the stack of stones that Joel was setting up on the river, I believe the name for that is a rock cairn. And they have different meanings, but they're often used as memorials or burial sites, markings of burial sites. So yeah, instead of a cold open, we just start out by paying respects to Tess.
Yeah, and such like somber music, but make perfect sense for what is currently going on. Like, uh, what's even suck even more, like he can't bury her physically, because it's like this is someone that was very
Yeah,
special to him.
that's true. That's very true.
Like all he has is just the symbolism of like these rocks that he's gonna have to keep moving anyway. It's another thing. Like everything has happened so fast. Like my boy can't even take time to process this. Although we've been introduced to Joel, we know his characters. Like I've even described him as like rigid, but still, dude, that's a stab. Like this hits close. This was family for Joel.
Yeah, yeah, of course. And I think they said I think they said they were 10 miles west of Boston.
Correct. 14 or 10, 10 or 14. But yes,
10 or 14.
yes.
Yeah, so that's what, like a couple days since Tess passed away, give or take.
Mm, Day wise, I do not know. Yeah, I know they just might have just walked.
Right.
I don't know actually.
Yeah, and because I think they're in a very mountainous area, so they might need to walk up as well, and that could take some time. But
That makes
uh,
sense.
yeah,
It did look morning-ish, which during Tessa's death, it did look afternoon or even borderline evening. So yes, and it might. I mean, definitely should be, because right, that scene looked like it was like early, like the break of dawn when he was setting up the rocks. So yeah, that might be the very next day. I don't know actually. I didn't pay attention to like the timeline as to like the distance they gave us, but just not day later or something.
yeah, right.
But you
Mm.
never know. And then homeboy walks back to just Ellie that's about to start speaking, and he's like, I don't want to hear it. I don't want your apologies. And my girl says, this was not going to be an apology. You and Tess, you guys decided to go up in this journey. You guys decided to take Marlene up on her offer to bring me here. Anything that happened is on you guys because this was all your choices. So please do not blame me for something that is not my fault. And I was like,
Mhm.
oh my goodness. Like I didn't like the timing because like as a human being, like have a just some news, just read the room. Like Joel's already a grumpy guy, always been with Ellie because he's been reluctant to take her on this journey so far. Like we're in episode 3 for the past 2 episodes. Like the timing was harsh, but at the same time, it had to be said. Although she's a kid, which is like crazy, like the boldness and how this girl is like ahead of her time for like a kid to reason so maturely and adult like to tell someone this. Because I thought of just so many kids that are resented by their parents, but since they're still kids that can't even imagine telling their parent these things. Like I didn't ask to be born. Like we tell our friends, or we watch for like, damn, but they didn't ask this, but it's like there's a level of respect. Although she still respect them, but to still speak out. Like, dude,
Mm.
the testicular fortitude, bro. The the balls.
Testicular fortitude.
Like
Yeah, it's yet another example of how intelligent and aware Ellie is. I completely agree with you on that. And I also love too that Joel, he was, when Ellie said that, he was patient and he agreed with her logic and he accepted it. So
Mm-hmm.
it's not like Joel, because up to this point, we do have a mental picture in our head of what Joel is capable of,
Right.
purely because of the, like, anecdotally what people say about him, and that can give off an impression that he could be emotionally unstable
Correct.
or he's not in control of how he responds to things. So
Yep.
to see him just be patient with Ellie, listen to what she's saying, interpreting it and understanding it, I think it also speaks to his character as well. That he's not like, he has some intelligence to him as well.
And self control, yes. And he's not impulsive. That is true.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Joel can be level headed, and that is a fact. And he is a realistic man. Like he's just if it is what it is. So it's like, yeah, that's you have a point there. But fuck. He was like, you have a point there. The way he tossed the food just said it all. Just fuck. Eat this shit. Just-
And isn't it crazy how little of a bite they took from their food?
Dude, the rations are insane, man. It's like, oh
Crazy.
my goodness. Like
Holy.
these people are burning off just body fat. Like it's like I don't know. These people are cleansing, bro. This is Ramadan, man. I was like,
And
that's it's a fast.
the food was kind of supposed to last for 3 people, right?
Yeah.
Not just Joel and Ellie. So,
Actually, the food was supposed to last for two because this was solely food for Joel and Tess.
was
I don't know
it?
if you remember Marlene. Marlene gave Ellie her own stash with food
She
because
did. She did.
because they never went on this mission. Like this mission was supposed to be solely Tess and Joel until they went in trying to look for the guy who got the battery to find out that that guy is dead, to find out that Firefly is also stuck, and then Marlene makes him the offer. But yeah,
That is true. That's a good point.
listen, man, that's a good show. It's a freaking good show. So then they head up, they start walking. Uh, Ellie noticing the gun, like, hey, can I carry one? He's like, no. Um, every time he tells her no, which was the first time, I although he's been rigid, which I understand, because we know Joel's past. Joel just lost, not just, it's been 20 years, but still, like I've mentioned in episode one, like, there's no name for that. Like, what is a parent if their kid is dead? Because that's what they were, that was their number one priority and number one duty to protect your children. And that is something that I wouldn't be able to fathom if until I get to something this drastic, which I hope I never do. But when he told her no, I was like, he actually is starting to care. Like, it's what I thought. I'm like, he's actually opening up more to starting to see this girl as just a little girl and wanting to preserve her innocence, maybe. Or he just don't want to let the girl carry his gun. I don't know. It's just Joel's is possessive too, bro. Like it's mine, so I just you not carry my shit. But yeah, as they're walking, and then Ellie bring up like the scar on his face. I was like, hey, where'd you get that from? It better be a cool story. And he was like, yeah, someone shot me and missed. I shot him too and miss. And he was like, yeah, you'd be surprised. I make mistakes sometimes. Great. And then they get to the place. I think it was, she said Cumberland Farm. I think Cumberland Farms.
Cumberland Farms.
Yeah. Apparently Joel stashed some like weapons there in case they would need to like reload because he was running low on gear and ammo, I'm assuming.
Yep. And I love the Mortal Kombat reference here. Are you familiar with what Mortal Kombat is?
I've seen I've seen Scorpion, the last movie that came out. I've never played a game, but I've seen all three of the first original ones. I'm talking with
Mm,
Johnny Cage, with Liu Kang, with Sienna, Goro, and
uh,
all them. Raiden. Yeah, I've seen the original
Mickey.
movies. No, dude, they were really good. The original movies were insane. I don't know if they've remade. I only saw the Scorpion remake,
Hmm.
In the is it Scorpion? Is it Scorpion that I saw? I think it's a Scorpion remake. The latest Mortal Kombat movie that was made.
Yeah, I think it's pretty cool because in the games, the oftentimes the arcades are brought up when there are these moments with Joel and Ellie walking through places,
Mm,
and they had to use a knockoff version of Mortal Kombat in the game, and they called it something. I forget the name. I think it had scissors in the name. But it's just
okay.
really cool to see that they got the permissions to use Mortal Kombat in the show. It makes it a little bit more grounded, a little bit
Huh.
more relatable to the audience, I think.
That's what that was. That arcade game.
Yeah, it was Mortal Kombat.
Huh. I don't remember this lady because she mentioned there's a lady that comes in and eat you. Who's which character is that? Like I don't remember someone with that power. Or
I I think I think she was referring to Milena.
hmm. I actually don't remember who that is. Okay.
She's a girl with she wears like a mask, and when she pulls it down, there's like razor sharp teeth.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Which is kind of what she explained. Yeah, she was like a friend of hers know all about this. Hmm.
Mhm.
Okay. So then, yeah, they're in this place. Like Joel's. It's so funny. This man is just so like. What is the adjective for someone who's like don't want to admit to something? Not in denial. That's a stretch. As in, like, hey, did you forget where you stashed those? Like, no, I'm just zeroing in. I'm just like, dude,
Stubborn.
you obviously, yeah. No, the stubborn is like don't want to listen, but this is just like not admitting. Yes, Ellie, I actually forgot where I stashed those. But he's like, no, I'm just zeroing in to see where they are. I mean, dude, you've been here for a long time, so you can miss where you hid them. Granted, too, the place was like a shit show. There's you had to move around, move things. So great, he got to find his stuff. But while he's doing that, oh my goodness, Ellie find this like I guess this underground, this hole that leads to the basement, I'd say, of whatever that place was. And dude, I'm
Yeah.
watching this. I'm like, why would you go down there? Oh
Yeah.
my goodness.
Yep. I know.
Uh,
I know the feeling.
bro, that's how I knew Ellie was not black. I'm like, all right.
Uh,
I'm like, why would you go down there, girl? It's like, but yeah, she went down there. Of course, Joel said, hey, people might have picked there's nothing left for you to find. She found
mhm.
a box of brand new tampons, which is like cool. She was like, great.
Yes,
Uh,
dude.
I'm keeping that.
I love how they acknowledge something like that, because even in episode 2, when Ellie was like, "I needed to use the bathroom," Tess tossed her a magazine and was like,
Mm-hmm.
basically used that as toilet paper. Because in when you make a journey like the journey that they're making, the conversation of how you use the bathroom, I feel like is a really important one, and how you handle the basic necessities, the basic human necessities like needing a tampon, um,
Right.
because that's a that could be just for sanitary reasons. That can be a very life-threatening. Uh, maybe life-threatening is not the right word,
Yeah, that's a
but
big stretch. But hey, we've been stretching. I've mentioned this last episode.
well,
So let's go. Get a
what
few
I'm
inches, bro. It's all good.
what I'm trying to get at is like for sanitary reasons. When you're in a world like that, a small cut can turn out to be very deadly.
That is true.
So, just I guess overall, the fact that they're addressing it, I really like. I'm such a big fan because it's small details. They make a big
That is
difference.
true. And also, too, the post apocalyptic, you're on the run, like being tossed a piece of, like, I think, magazine to wipe yourself with, a tampon, which is a regular item in our world. That is like a luxury in hers right now. She probably can't even find something like that just because, like, you just have to use what you can while you're on the road. It's
Yeah.
like, oh, wow, this is actually great. But yeah, it's can be interpreted both ways, actually. Sure. And then, of course, she heard the sound.
What kind of sound was it? Do you remember?
Yeah, it was a growl. It was like, "Grr, grr." whatever the infected sounds are. Yes, it was that. And of course, I was like, damn, run out of there. But she inspected, like meaning like get closer and see. Because yeah, she heard the sound, but nobody, there was no steps. Which,
Right.
oh man, this girl's fearless. So yeah, she took a few more steps. She had a flashlight, and then just to notice that homeboy is can't move. Basically, he's just a bunch of, I think it was blocks, bricks on top of him, but only
Yep.
leaving out his face.
Correct.
Yes, the guy was basically, so basically he was paralyzed because there was like bricks on top of him. And then now something about this dude. I understand that this guy is infected. I don't know why. It felt like he was like reaching out, like his eyes. I
Reaching out.
like maybe I'm reading too much into this. Like the human is still in there. Like the human is still in there. They're not. He's not dead. But like the fungus haven't fully altered his mind. I don't know. It's like he looked at Tess. Tess. Oh goodness, the pain. He looked at Ellie, and his mouth is not cut, so therefore he used his mouth to make the scream, so he can like do some more of that, like but he didn't. He's just looking at her, like he just keeps looking at her. So I'm like, I don't know if that was intentional. I don't know if I'm reading into this a lot, like I always do, unfortunately. But I found that, I don't know, that stuck out to me.
Maybe it's the eye contact, because that is uh that could make I could see how it would look like an infected is aware of, its surroundings because of the eye contact when it's staring at Ellie's knife.
Okay.
But I yeah, I don't know if that is a strong indication that there's still like a human inside of it though. Because
Yeah. No,
infected,
I
when they're
literally I read
chasing
into it.
after, yeah, like when an infected is chasing after somebody, they need to be able to see them. So, uh, yeah, I don't know.
Listen, this is the human in me. I guess I'm just quick to forgive.
Yeah,
No, but yeah. And
forgivable.
then homegirl used her knife, just ugh, that slight incision. Like she's a surgeon, bro.
Yeah.
Um, Another thing too, I don't think blood came out of that, or if any, just a little drop. I was like, damn, that means that's has like far that the actual skin is. I don't know, like the fungus that took over. It's like it's on top of his head. Therefore, ripping through that, you're not getting to the human skin yet. This is what I interpreted when I saw that cut. I'm like, what? This just opened up more freaking like white stuff. I was like,
Mm, yeah. Yeah. I do kind of wish we could see the makeup inside of the makeup of an infected's head, because
yeah,
the tentacles that come out of its mouth, and then that fuzzy material that you're speaking about when Ellie cuts open its
right.
head, there's definitely something very interesting going on inside there as far as like biology goes that I would love to get a little more explanation on.
No, yeah, seriously. Me too, actually. Like, dude, if there could be a freaking infected 101, which they actually do go over on after the episodes are done. But yeah, and then homegirl had her first on camera kill. Like damn, she
Mm,
stabbed it in there.
mm,
And the
ruthless.
lack of just, it wasn't an inhumane scene, but as a child, man, to do this with such just no hesitation. It's like, bam, you're dead.
It reminds me of I'm going to take a page from your book and quote another TV show. It reminds me of, you remember, slight Attack on Titan spoilers if anyone hasn't seen it, but you remember Annie when they were showing you her as a kid when she was in Marley, I think. And
Yeah.
there was a moment where she was crushing a bug underneath her foot.
Yeah.
It was kind of like that. It was like an innocent, sadistic thing to do,
Right.
like a kid torturing a mosquito it captures or something.
I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, and it reminded this scene with Ellie. It reminded me of that.
But what is even crazier, Annie, we could understand. Like, dude, you're raised, you're being tormented, and then now you have to be a soldier as a kid. That's the only way that, you're trying to fight for your family to gain honor amongst a bunch of people that call you swans of the devil. So, like, yeah, that hardens a child's like heart and just everything. Like, you have to become robotic. Also, you're
Mhm.
competing against a bunch of other people to become the what she becomes. I'm trying to keep this as spoilerless as possible.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah. So, but Tess, oh, damn it. The heart wants what it wants. But Ellie, but, but Ellie hasn't gone through these things. Well, I don't know. What we know so far, she was in federal school. That's where she was dropped off. And yeah, Marlene like got her, because yeah, now we do know she was bitten, but it has not grown. So they think she's secure. As in, like, this doesn't scream a kid that has gone through a lot as a kid to make her first kill so seamless, so effortless. It wasn't effortless. So she kind of to dig it in there, but it was very
Mhm.
easy, easier
Mhm.
than it should have been for a kid.
It is an important scene, so I will say that it'll
It's
have,
very important.
yeah, it'll have ramifications later on.
Of course it will. I no doubt at all.
Hmm.
Yeah. And then they get back on the road.
Yes, they
Now,
do.
for the important questions, Ellie
Uh-huh.
started asking, how did the outbreak even start? Like who bit the first person, which you and I mentioned, or the even no, the mycologist mentioned who was the first person, right? So patient zero, I guess, sure, yeah.
Right.
And then they mentioned, I guess they didn't teach you that in federal school. And she did something which is like actually I thought funny. She was like, in federal school didn't teach us how our shitty government couldn't like prevent a pandemic. And I was like, oh, that's hilarious. This is, at the height of COVID, a lot of people were like, dude, we could have, like, oh, we saw this coming. We're seeing memes in China for like months, and we still allowed to get this. I was like, I thought that was pretty funny to me. Um, and then Joel gets to the basic of it, which I didn't know. But you brought it up the last episode. You said, hey, the security guard, when speaking to her, he told her
Yes.
that
Yes.
outbreak was in a flour and grain factory.
Yes. And the reason I wanted to make sure you were aware of that is exactly because of this conversation. Because
Yeah,
what Joel said, and I wrote down a little bit of it, he says, um, he's explaining to Ellie kind of how he thinks it all happens.
right,
He said, no one knows for sure, but best guess is the cordyceps mutated. It got into the food supply via basic ingredients like flour or sugar, and it seeped into popular brands of breads, cereals. And then there's a pause that he takes, and then he says, pancake mix. So think
right.
back to episode 1, right?
Yes,
What was it that Sarah almost made Joel, but because Joel forgot to restock, she couldn't make it?
yes.
Pancakes, right? And then not only that, but what was it that Joel forgot to bring home on his birthday?
Cake,
Yes.
flour,
Also, yes. Also, what was it that Sarah was making when she was in her elderly neighbor's house?
cookies,
Yes. Raisin
which also
cookies
need,
that she didn't want to
dude,
eat because she didn't like it.
dude.
They
Oh, I
narrowly avoided this infection many times in the first episode, but you needed to get to episode 3 to really understand how that happened,
right.
which is really fucking cool that they did
Oh my goodness, dude.
that.
Literally, see how your mind just took you to these things? So did
Uh,
I, man. I was like, oh my goodness. But you beat me to it.
Yeah,
Dude, the freaking the tiniest ways these people have missed out on being infected by luck, by like
by fate?
no.
Question mark.
It's crazy shit, man. Because yeah, she could have been like, all right, I'll eat cookies today, but it's
Right.
like,
And you know, it also, because you remember in the last episode, I had that little gripe when the clicker was on top of Joel and there was like spittle coming out. You remember that?
yeah,
So yeah, so when Joel was explaining to Ellie when he was explaining all the stuff about the pandemic starting, uh, he said that if you eat enough of it, or if you eat enough of the contaminated product, then it gets you infected. So that makes me think if you only digest a little bit of the infection, then you might not get infected. So
right,
the spittle from the previous episode, it would explain why that doesn't, get Joel infected. And also, um, in episode one, where they show you the infected grandma, and then in episode two, where they show you the corpse in the cold open, the infected corpse. And then in
yeah,
episode two as well, when you see the kiss scene with Tess at the very end, they always show you these fungal tentacles that are coming out of the mouth of the infected. So when you combine the fact that Joel said you have to eat enough of a contaminated product to get infected,
right,
with the scene that the infected was over Joel and there was spittle coming out of it and then presumably landing in Joel, on Joel, and maybe in his mouth as well, or his eyes. Um, and then you combine that with the fact that a bite is the primary cause of infection. Uh, Maybe the reason it's a bite is because those tentacles transfer an enormous amount of the fungus when it bites a person. So it's a
which makes sense.
yeah, so it's an enormous amount of the infection being transferred all at once, as
Right,
opposed to the spittle. So hopefully, hopefully I'm not like just annoyingly dissecting too much into that, but
dude.
that's I don't know. I felt like that was a long-winded rant, but
Dude, you're
that's
starting to sound like me, man.
your influence is rubbing off on me.
It's a hard life. But yeah, no, but yeah, that's yeah, everything you just read into sounds like semi-accurate to me, and that is true. It does look like through the mouth, a lot gets passed on to turn someone exactly like from normal to infected, whereas absorbing that through food over time, like you need to consume a considerate amount to get to the point, which is even why he mentioned it was like even the process was slow. He was like by Friday, Thursday night, people started getting sick, I think. Friday, some people were more sick. They went to the hospital. By Saturday, even more. And then by Monday, everything was gone. As in, it was gradual because these people probably weren't aware, but they kept eating. Like, oh shit, I'm eating pancake this morning. Oh, maybe this is a fever. I'll eat a cookie. Maybe this is just a headache. I'll eat just a bunch of flour based or cereal or just bread that these people are like completely unaware that you're continuously increasing this thing in your bloodstream in your system.
Yes. Hmm. Well, it's ugh, it's I gotta say those tentacles, because I think that's a new thing in the show as well. In the games, I don't believe when an infected opened its mouth, you could see tentacles coming out of it.
Mm.
Um, but that's a very disturbing thought, because I just imagine how that would feel having a bunch of tentacles coming out of your throat to the point where they're overflowing in your mouth. It's ugh, I don't like it.
At the at the same time, by that time, you're just already under the spell, so you wouldn't feel
Yeah.
it, Christian. You would
What?
not feel it at all.
I don't know if
Going in, you
Tess
might.
didn't feel it
Tess, my
though.
girl Tess did. Rest in peace. We know she did. Oh man. Uh, but Christian, there's something that's still. Mm, the grandma. We watch her
Yes.
metamorphosis from human to infected.
Hmm.
It didn't look like it was from. She had the cookies earlier. What was she
So,
eating? What was she eating when Joel and
so I rewatched this scene because I
Sarah?
wanted to be a little accurate.
Yeah,
I don't know if she was eating something flour based, but
yeah.
because the mother, or not the mother, the
His daughter, I guess, or
yeah,
the wife's.
yeah, like she was feeding her something that was green. She mentioned something
Mm,
about the food being green and that it's her favorite or something like that. So
okay.
not too sure, but I'd like to assume that it was something with flour in it.
Yeah, I too. I too.
Yeah.
I too. Me too.
Uh,
mm. And then they're walking still, and then another dude. He's constantly getting more parental,
hmm,
which I'm like, I really do love that gradual sense because as talkative as Ellie is and as blunt as she can be, she's kind of a cool kid.
yeah, pretty chill, pretty cool.
Yeah, like they're getting to the road, and he's like, "Wait, let's take another way." And she's like, "Hey, I'm not scared. I'm just gonna walk there anyway." He's like, "No, no, I don't want you to see that. Just like preserve her innocence." Little does homeboy know, yeah, my girl just have one kill. Like my girl have one body. She just she just killed someone or an infected like a freaking 10 minutes ago. It's like,
Hmm.
no, you shouldn't have to go there. Just as a kid, you shouldn't be seeing that. And then, of course, she goes there. And then they show you the freaking dead people, the bones. Oh my goodness. And the story behind it. So
Right.
inhumane, but understandable.
A
I
week
get it.
after Outbreak Day, soldiers told you
Yes.
you were going to a QZ, but they didn't tell you that it was only if there was room you'd be going to a QZ.
And they couldn't take the chance of leaving the ones that they couldn't take with them because of this lack of space. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. And just imagine, right? Because the bones, most likely, this is how imagined it would go. They were lined up and then shot to death in a ditch
Yeah.
and then just left there.
Mm-hmm.
And did you note the transition from right before it cuts to that?
The actual day. Yeah. September
Yeah.
30th, 2003.
Did you notice how the camera pans and it shows you the bunch of bones on the grounds, but then it zeroes in on a particular set of bones, and these bones, um, one of them was wrapped in a cloth with rainbows on it, and
Hmm.
then the other set of bones was wrapped in a cloth with floral patterns on it. And then, right after showing you that, it cuts to a woman in floral clothing holding a baby wrapped in a blanket with rainbow patterns on it. You
Holy
remember
shit.
it was like a black woman with her baby. Do you remember
Holy
her?
shit. Yes, I do.
Yeah. So it's a direct answer. It's like these people that were showing you, they were getting onto a truck and they were heading straight to their deaths.
Oh my goodness. Dude.
Yeah.
Oh.
The transition was just mwah. It was beautiful
Oh
because
my goodness.
I I live for silent storytelling. Like how much
I know.
you can convey with as little dialogue as possible.
Mm-hmm.
And that transition just nailed it. I love how they
Oh
did
my goodness. I didn't pick up on that. Ugh.
that. Yeah.
Yo.
Yeah. So
Then
cool.
homeboy is very lucky to believe in all of his
Bill.
freaking
Yeah.
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 to be so skeptical. I don't remember the word he used. Like, you're not getting me today, you blank, blank, blank motherfuckers. I don't remember what he
Not
said.
today. Not today, you New World Order jackboot fuck.
You were
I love that line so much.
wow. These people are heading to their deaths.
Yeah,
Nicely packed too.
right?
Oh man, nah, these
Imagine the
guys look like
sense of
monsters.
security they would have in that moment.
Yeah.
Oh, damn.
Great, we're being taken somewhere it's safe.
Yeah.
Ah, she had a child. Yo. All right, all right, all right. It's a show. It's a show. Dude, I need to make that disconnect. Which this
No,
is
but
what great
don't make
shows do, man. It gets you in there. Like,
don't make the disconnect.
oh yeah, just keep living in the moment and
Just keep
just
living in it.
bear these debts. Okay. Well, now this is the story of Bill.
Bill.
September 30th, 2003.
I
Bill stayed
fucking
back.
love Bill, dude. He's
We all
so.
love Bill.
Oh my god.
Bill is in his bunker. My
Yeah.
boy is just prepared for freaking the apocalypse. Just got sulfuric acid, which
Survivalist.
just guns and ammo, like books. It's so funny how these little things just tell you what kind of person this guy might be. Well, not person, like his views on some things, which I guess in a way is bad. In politics in this country, is unfortunately is just labeled people for certain like group and just a bunch of stigma. Like, oh yeah, this dude has like a truck. This dude have tons of guns. He has a book that's like freaking it says what Guns and Ammo, I think was the title. This dude might fit under this particular political party or group, which is a bad thing. But it's just if you were to be biased, it's like people would be like, oh, I can tell this motherfucker might be just hard right or some shit. But but it was just this dude was fully just like ready for this, just guns. It's like a whole fortress. There's no way they could have found him there. It's like,
I'm glad. Oh, see, I'm glad. I'm glad you brought that up because I really am a big fan of how they subverted the expectation that a lot of people would have if they see somebody like Bill.
mm-hmm.
Because you know, after they give us that, that cheerful montage of Bill being really resourceful and hitting up the Home Depot, the gas station, the power
Yeah, the
plant.
wine. My boy got taste.
Yeah, the liquor
Yeah.
store. Yeah, like imagine the intelligence and the discipline you need to be self-sufficient like that, right?
Mm.
Like you need mechanical engineering, you need electrical engineering, construction knowledge, irrigation knowledge, farming, hunting, cooking, math, physics,
Mm.
basic understanding of that stuff. And then
This is true.
imagine also the refinement that you need within you to keep your body well groomed on a daily basis, to
Hmm.
know how to how to pair like a certain wine with a certain meal, or to eat with this decadence, like he has a napkin over his lap
Bro.
to prevent
All
his
right,
clothes
bro.
from being stained, right? And then
Preach, bro.
and then they show you in the beginning like he has this very, you know, go
Yeah.
America
Yeah.
kind of look
Like
to him.
yeah, you first see homeboy, you're like, all right, this might be some like some hillbilly stuff, but nah, you're mistaken. This man has class. This man
Right.
is like well equipped. Like and also, not only that too, this man prefers solitude, which has helped him along these years. Okay. I imagine if he got sad at one point, like, nah, there's like you can even tell. Another thing that can show you this too, that he is not an introvert, but is like he liked to stay in his own place. Nobody picked up that Bill was in there. If you've been living in a neighborhood for that long, that
Mm.
black woman or that guy, I'm like, hey, well, where's Bill? You know, just to show you the fact that Bill is also very reserved has helped him. Like, for example, if he was someone that this was by choice, but is longing for companion 2, 3 years down the line, it would have been a hard time for him because he's all alone. But it just shows you he's preferred a solitude this whole time, which is even his neighbors, right? Like the black woman with the baby, the other guy on the truck. Nobody asked, like, "Hey, where's Bill?" It's like it's like
Mm.
Bill's not here. So that also shows you my boy always wanted like to be on his own space. Like, he even mentions later in the episode, he's like, I hated everyone in the world. I'm not gonna say the other part because that's coming, but it's like the other part of the sentence. So yeah, it's like all these things helped him. No, this dude is fully equipped to be like the last guy on earth, and he would be fine. It's like which is really nice actually. No, the man is very smart, very skilled. The mental power too. It's just it's yeah. Bill was a very very good character to watch.
Yeah, and I do want to touch back on the loneliness thing in a little, uh, mm, because I think it's a really important aspect of his character, especially when Frank comes into the picture,
Correct.
because he's alone for 4 years,
4 years.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 4 years, and then we get Frank. He comes into the picture all of a sudden, and I love the initial dialogue between them where
Mm-hmm.
Bill's like, "Are you armed?" And then there's like a long pause, and Frank is like, "No." And then Bill's like, "Why'd you take that long to answer?" And
I think
then
I was trying to come up with a lie, but I couldn't.
yeah, it's so honest and so human of a response. It disarmed. I'm sure part of that disarmed Bill, and
Mm.
because it
Oh,
disarmed me as a
also you
viewer.
mentioned it, but just clear. Yes, we're in 2007 now, 4 years later. But yeah,
Yes,
continue.
2007. Um, So yeah, like at that point when he meets Frank, he's been alone for 4 years.
Yep.
And even if you are somebody who likes to be alone,
Right.
we are social creatures. So
Correct.
etched within all of us is it's like a decree from Mother Nature that we must interact with other humans in order to keep our
Mm-hmm.
sanity.
Yep.
So when you take a being like that and you deprive them of their ability to socialize, imagine how intense that loneliness could get. There's
Seriously.
I forget where I heard this from, uh, but basically it could get to a point where the silence around you could become incredibly loud, deafening
Yeah.
almost. Like you can hear the fact that it's silent.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. That's an actual thing for prisoners that are like put in like in solitude. Yeah,
yeah,
it gets
yeah,
to a point where you do.
right.
The mind will start playing tricks on you too, which is another thing. Yeah, it's but it's just to show you how much my boy like enjoyed, accepted, loved the fact that he's a loner by choice. so so for that reason, these things never came up to him. Like that
Um,
probably was never an issue. To show you even more how that's so like not an issue, his initial reaction with Frank when they meet. It's like there was no
mhm.
ounce of him that was like once finding out that this man is not infected after passing the test. There was nothing like, oh great, there's actually someone here. My boy was still skeptical throughout the whole way. He was like, great, I'm gonna feed you and let you go. But before that too, Frank,
But
he
wait,
just
real quick, because I do want to play a little bit of a devil's advocate on that one point.
let's do it. Why not?
I think that because he was so lonely, it's a huge reason as to why Frank even became a part of his life. Just want to, because
Mm.
I want to say that, but once we get to the piano scene, then I can elaborate more why I think that. But go ahead.
And
What you were
I
gonna
will be against you on that actually.
say?
Oh shit. That's good.
Oh shit,
Oh,
we
we're
got
about
the
this
first
will break this friendship. But
one.
yeah. And then yeah, Frank's like we start off as 10 coming from the Baltimore QZ, which is
Uh-huh.
now gone. I'm assuming infected took over or shut down, ran out of supplies, just many different reasons why QZ's closed. And we're trying to get to Boston. So my boy's actually a survivor. My boy had to like endure things on this journey, losing close ones, have not eaten for 2 days. That was very subtle, but it's like, damn, this dude actually seen some shit to end up falling in that trap, that hole. But I was like, but still, that's dope. He find a way to maneuver his way in. Well, not maneuver. Dude was like, dude, I'm hungry. I'm not gonna tell anyone. Let me eat, please.
Mm,
Showered,
a
asked to be
little
showered for a
forceful,
little bit.
a little
Yeah.
forceful,
Uh, I
tiny
mean, but
bit,
understandably
tiny bit.
so. Dude, nobody can force Bill to do shit. If Bill didn't want to do it,
Ah,
just
see, that's one of the things I was gonna bring up later.
the
But yeah,
longing for companionship. Okay,
yeah,
like involuntarily, like I've not eaten with someone in 4 years. I guess I can let him in.
emotional manipulation. Yeah, yeah.
mm,
Hmm.
But sure. Yes, he eats, he drinks the wine, but this is where I think Frank tricked homeboy. He notices the piano. I mean, why would the dude have a piano in his house if he doesn't know how to play it? I get that. I feel like Frank purposely played that song off pitch and did not do it justice at all, knowing that Bill would come in and be like, "No, no, you're doing this wrong. This is how it's done."
It's very calculated of you to think that.
Dude, of course, man, dude. Christopher Nolan has taught you and I to be assassins of,
They're
but
super true.
yeah. And no, as he's playing, now this is where I'm going to counter what you said. That
Hmm.
wait, I'm even forgetting. What did you say? That what did you say? That's
Uh,
the
so the main thing that I was getting at is that Bill's loneliness greatly impacted, or it's one of the main reasons why Frank
okay.
is even in the picture all these years later.
Perfect. This is where I'm going to counter you because
Mhm.
that song with so much emotion, so much like it could be like it was that shit like transcended through like the freaking television. You're like, oh shit, I'm there. I can feel it. It's so deep. Like Frank freaking like weeping. I think in that moment, if it was his end or not, if it was genuine, to reading probably too much into it, Frank noticed right away this man lost out on a love that he couldn't have, which basically might mean, due to who he is, the kind of guy that he is, probably how he was brought up. We didn't tell us anything about, except for like his mom. That's all they discuss. This man was probably always, again, homosexual, but couldn't come out with that. So therefore, they keep all that condensed and stay in. That shit can freaking like what's this, like not breathing basically in a way to holding something down, like holding your true self, who you long to be with, who the gender that you're attracted to, but having to conform to, I'm assuming, strict dads, because he's strict. Bill is strict as fuck. There's no way Bill could have become that product without two parents, or at least one that was very parallel to that. So therefore, I think Frank is like, yes, this song is definitely meant for a girl. Even though when he said that, I think he already knows it's not gonna be for a girl. And when Bill's
Mm.
like, no, then he's like, it's for a guy. And he didn't say anything. So he's like, all right, that's my in. And then he freaking just kissed one boy and he's like, go take a shower. This is why I think it was not loneliness. I think it was just a part of them that Frank was able to use, because I don't think Frank was even attracted to Homeboy. I think for Frank it was survival, but I don't know. It also might just be like, it also just might be attraction because there was a wall of vulnerability that just went down. This man has been rigid with you for freaking a whole dinner since you met him, and you just watch him sing a song, performing the piano, a very deep song about how I couldn't do anything more, like I couldn't win you over, and he actually started weeping as he's singing. That puts him that unarm him basically. The armor, the guard is down. So Frank's like, all right, that might be mine, but I don't know.
Mm.
So this is why I think it's not loneliness, but it's just vulnerability and sexuality that my boy took into consideration, and that was his way of getting into his life. But let me hear your
Well,
portion, dude. Go ahead.
I mean, I feel like that's vulnerability and him not being able to express his sexuality. That's also a form of loneliness. Uh, but yeah, I mean, that aside, the song that they were playing, one of the lyrics was "Love will abide, take things in stride." Sounds like good advice, but there's no one at my side. And when Frank sings this, Bill becomes overwhelmed for a moment.
Right.
And I interpreted that as it's most likely because it's a stark reminder of how intense his loneliness has been for 4 years. Uh, and then after, at some other point, the lyric goes, and I think I'm going to love you for a long, long time, which is the
Right.
name of the episode, also, by the way.
Correct. Correct.
And then when Frank kisses Bill, you could see Bill is visibly shaking. And
Understood.
when he shakes, it made me think. So the world went to shit in like 2003.
Correct.
So society at that point was not exactly open-minded towards LGBT, like the LGBT
Correct.
community. So for Bill, it's like a double whammy because not only has 4 years of loneliness been relieved in that moment where he kisses Frank, but it might also be the first time that he's ever been able to be openly gay with someone. And I think you
Correct.
mentioned that as well, right? So
Yeah.
both of those, it's a byproduct of intense loneliness, right? So that's why I think when you have an ability to relieve that loneliness, it's it could definitely impact whether or not you let somebody continue living with you or not.
Right. But that's longing for more like a partner, an intimate partner than a
Yeah.
person.
Yeah.
But that's two different things. I bet you,
No, but
I can't bet
that's
you because it didn't happen, that it would have been different if that was a woman he found in that hole. Like, sure, he probably would have fed her. That's true, but she probably would not have stayed with him.
um
He probably would not have let her stay with him. I mean,
so okay. That's okay. That's I see what you're thinking. But I could also see a world where if it was a woman, because he's been with women before. Um
understood.
I,
But
so
that's not what he was. That's not what he wanted,
no,
dude. We're
but
really, we're really trying to.
no,
But
because
that's good. That's good, actually. That's good. This is good dialogue. This is freaking great.
yeah, because what I'm really thinking of when I see that moment, because I could see if you're somebody who was straight your whole life and you have been, like I mentioned before, deprived of your ability to socialize with anybody. I could see how, regardless of if it was a man or a woman, you could fall in love with whoever shows up at your door. Because Bill he could be bi. I don't know if they say like explicitly he's like strictly gay because he did say he's been with women before.
That is true.
So he could be bi. So if it was a woman that showed up, if it was like a Tess that showed up, well, Tess is with Joel, and Joel would not have that. But uh,
Yeah. No,
yeah, I
these dudes
mean,
are very possessive, which we'll get to. We'll get the possessive words. But yeah.
yeah,
um.
yeah.
No,
So
that's honestly, man, it's valid. I mentioned this shit before. This is freaking great. This is what great shows do, man. It like it's shit like Inception, bro. It's freaking the freaking fan base is divided on whether Homeboy is still dreaming or he's dead, and both of them have equal freaking I don't
merits.
know, reasons, merits behind why they think so. But yeah, this is very true.
Mm,
I love this show for that. It's very
mhm.
mentally stimulating.
Yeah, that's an so
That is an understatement. It's like we're watching Tenet, bro. I freaking love Tenet, even though I have to watch it freaking 5 times to get it. But still, we love Christopher Nolan. So yes.
it's very true.
Um, and then they fast forward, 3 years later,
One
2010.
one more thing I want to mention with Bill and Frank
Go ahead,
is
do it. Go ahead, do your thing.
this line. It kind of it made me a little worried for Bill. I know we both know how the episode turns out, so Frank doesn't have we know he doesn't have ill intentions.
Mm-hmm.
But uh after all that stuff I mentioned about Bill being alone and all that stuff, when because of Bill's loneliness, when Frank says that line, I don't have sex for lunches. So if I do this, I'm gonna
Yeah.
stay a few more days. And
Yeah.
when he said that, that felt really manipulative to
Yeah.
me. And
Yeah. I too, bro.
if
I too.
yeah, and if
This
Frank,
is why. Go ahead, and if Frank.
yeah, like if Frank had ill intentions, Bill would have been he could have been in an abusive relationship. Like I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah. Because the homeboy found his end. Like I'm telling you, yeah, I was like, I don't do these things just like that, but if I do this, I will stay. I'm like, first of all, bro, like I just fed you. Like the freaking social construct is just an exchange. Nah, that's some dark shit.
Exchange.
like I fed you, I give you wine. We need to have sex. Like
I
like
need
homeboy was setting
favorable
up.
business decisions. Business
Yeah,
negotiations.
homeboy was literally like setting up his ground rules. Just so you know, if this happens, I'm like, bro, who's in need here, bro? I'm gonna put you back in that hole. But
Oh,
regardless, we found out It actually was not that. Also, his character, bro, the guy who plays Frank, White
Hmm.
Lotus,
I keep
cannot
hearing
stand,
this. Yeah.
bro. You know, Eminem has a song with any song that Eminem gets on is freaking it becomes his. Big Sean has a song where Eminem features. It's called No Favors, and one of the lines from Eminem, he's like, "Bitch, I'm like your problems, self-made." White Lotus, this dude is the reason for all of his problems, bro. But regardless, I was just so upset, man. I'm like, all you had to do was give this man his, you know what? All right, it's all good.
Yeah. No
But
spoiler.
yeah, let's move back. Yeah, so then we moved to 2010. It's like
Hmm.
Frank wants to paint. Oh, and Bill's like, I cannot. I don't think we should. And he's like,
Paying
paying
attention to
attention to
things.
things
Yeah.
is how you show love.
Right.
Woo!
If it's
He's like,
tell me that's not. Is there not a more perfect line to represent this show?
mm,
Paying attention to things is how we show love. The attention to detail that they have gone out of their way to put in every
yes,
scene. Mm.
yes, yes. This is true. This is true. I second that.
You can.
That is extremely true.
Mm.
But yeah, he said it's how we. And he's like, yeah, and also we need to make this place. We need to decorate this place a bit because we're gonna have friends. Oh, it's like, what friends? A woman I was talking to through the radio. Like, what woman? Oh, I love the dynamic, man. How he's so rigid, which you have to be, bro.
Uh,
Like surviving in this world, people that are infected, your guard always need to be up 1,000%, which I completely understand. Which is why does this dynamic work? They complement each other very well, which is like it's nice. Like what Bill lacks in like social skills, Frank make up for that, and
mm.
which you need. You need a little plus and minus and shit. So though that was beautiful. They're made for each other because the contrast is like night and day.
Frank
Plus the love.
shores up his weaknesses.
Ah. So then they meet Joel and Tess. The same
Mm.
2010.
Mm.
Now,
I real quick, I love
mhm,
how the camera cuts to Joel. Like when they are having that little dinner or that little
mhm,
lunch or whatever. The only way I could think to describe how the camera cut is like it felt like a very protagonist angle. Like it's been 20 minutes since we've seen Joel, give or take. So you can kind of forget about him for a little bit as you focus on this new character, and then boom, he shows up. And then it's like
yeah.
he's off to the side a little bit. The camera lingers on him. I don't know. It felt like a mic drop moment to me. I don't know. I don't know why I did, but that's how I saw it. I loved how they did that.
No, that is actually yeah, I do remember that actually. Hmm. I didn't pick up on that though. Actually, now that I'm like, yeah, from it takes me back to the scene from what how you just described it.
Yeah, it's a very I don't know, it might just be I love camera tricks. I love
Yeah.
yeah, like cinematic stuff like that.
Oh, dude, when done well, these can send shivers down your freaking spine, bro. Like the scene when they're going up the steps of the hotel. It's like I told you, damn, I equated
Yeah.
that shit to Promise Neverland scene of them getting out of their rooms. It's oh no. That's yeah, it's something when played with nicely, it can be scary. With no
Mhm.
characters, just angles moving from left to right. That's it.
Yeah.
Uh so of course, Tess and Frank hit it off. Well, not just hit it off, they've been talking, like he said, I've been talking to a woman. It's like, yeah, let's go. I want to show you something. Don't take her in the house. Don't take her in the house. And then
Mm.
the conversation between Joel and Frank, Joel and
Bill.
Bill.
Mhm.
How Joel is so attentive, observant,
Mm.
and just the way his responses to Bill's comments. We can help each other. Joel start, in the QZ. We got books, medicines. There's like parts, that we can get you. And Bill's like, no, I don't need that. We can take care of ourselves. Then he said, we're sufficient. We're self sufficient. And then Joel take another bite. No. The possessive thing that I mentioned. Yeah, Joel said, I'd understand if someone brings someone, if mine
Mine.
brought
Mm.
someone over, right? That was like, these men are just possessive. It's like, damn.
I also
Like
saw
Tess,
that as he refuses to acknowledge that he's in.
a
Well, I guess if
relationship.
you say mine, I don't know.
Yeah.
I guess that is kind of saying, yeah, this is
Yeah,
my
because they were
person.
talking about each other's significant others. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, homeboy is just dude. He's like Frank Castle, man. This dude, just he's not about all the cutie stuff. But when he says it, it's it's just, if Tess heard this, Tess would probably been blushing. If they had a microphone, like, oh my goodness, like, he called me mine. Like, but yeah, and then he takes a bite from the food. Look over at the freaking gate. He's like, well,
Mm.
you're saying you're self-sufficient. This gate that I'm looking at, shit probably has like a year tops. If we do end up working together, I can get you some strong shit. He said, like, high tensile aluminum, yeah, which will last you the rest of your life. To put more emphasis on that shit, because to emphasize, to make this deeper, to hit home. Because now that my boy is on freaking, he has a lover. He has basically a significant other. You need to be thinking for two, which make the risk even higher and something that you don't want to encounter because there's someone else that you love. He's like, hey, this can last you for the rest of your life. Lives. He was like,
Lives.
lives. It was like, oh, so this is not just you, bro. Are you sure you don't want the help? Because
But
I
think
just did
about
a quick
this.
analysis. Yeah, and then this gate is not going to stand. Still, my boy's like, you know what? No, I'm good. Okay, as they're walking out, he gives Tess the radio codes, which is such a nice touch, man. The way the show covers every little thing to not, this wasn't done randomly. Like, no,
Hmm.
like, you want to know the scene that led to how they got to this radio code type thing?
Here
This
it
is how it
is.
was. Like, oh my goodness. And block out the rest just to show us what only matters to us, what we did here, the 80s song.
Mm,
Like, block him out
hmm.
at 70s because that's
Yep.
irrelevant because you're not going to hear
Yep.
no more radio shit ever again. Like, oh,
Yep.
bro, I'm sweating, dude. We're back. We're doing cardio again, man. I'm freaking sweating. Just heating up talking about this show, man. Mm. Whew. All right, control yourself, Pierre. Control yourself. But yeah, it's dude. And
um,
then Joel tells
mm,
Bills again, "You might not want help from me. I'm telling you, it's good. We could really help each other. And just so you know, you might think you're out of Fedra zone and infected, which you are correct. But Raiders will come, bro.
and
Raiders
indeed
will
they
come
do.
and they'll be silent. They'll be armed. So I need you to rethink this partnership that I'm trying to form with your ass." And of course, Bill is grumpy. He's like, I don't think Homeboy even responded. I think, or he said, "We're good." Or the camera just shows his face. He turned around and looked at Joel.
Mm.
Now, is there something that you picked up before we fast forward for another 3 years?
Mm, no, no, I think you covered that scene pretty well.
Rich Gang. All right. 3 years later, 2013.
Yep.
First, first freaking scene, right? So, correct me if I'm wrong. This is what I thought. I even stopped it. I'm like, did he not take Joel up on his? He didn't. No, he did not. Yo, okay, this is why he didn't take Joel up on Joel's offer, and the gate was corroded. But Homeboy is just so stubborn, refused to call. Yet just found a ton of cars to use as a blocker, like to hold the gate up. Is this what that scene represented? Like literally the first shot when they show you 2013, before they show you him and Bill and Frank running.
I don't. I understand I see what you're thinking, but they do show that Joel and Tess and Bill and Frank that they've already established that there's like a partnership going on,
No, they
right?
did, but I'm saying Bill never got in contact with him because Bill is the one that had the conversation with Joel about the gate. Bill only would be like, "Hey Joel, you can send me the stuff for the new gate." We know Frank has been talking to Tess. We know they met. We know Frank made a swap for one of his little guns, which is cute. It was like the little one for strawberries with Tess, but Bill never reached out, which make the final scene of that year even to solidify what I'm trying to say. It's like when he's like, call Joel, as in Bill is finally giving the green light. As in, Bill never took Joel up on his offer before for the gate or to even work together. This is why the deal for the strawberries was made behind him, because Bill was probably
Mm.
unaware that trades were being made. Like I don't know. I'm just this is what I just thought, because I saw cars. You wouldn't need cars to line up against your gate if you took the high intensity aluminum proposal that Joel pitched to you that could last you your whole life. Do you get what I'm saying? And
Yeah,
this
yeah.
this
I
might be
mean,
not it at all, bro. This might just be a crazy stretch. I'm like a giant at this point stretching, but
uh,
I just but I just saw that and I was like, damn, this motherfucker never called. He never reached out. Which is why when I
yeah,
saw the last scene of him on the table, he said, call Joe, he'll take care of you. I just thought, damn, this is probably the first time that he's greenlighting that, because this is oh shit. I might die. But I don't know.
yeah. I never thought of it like that. You could very well be right. I always just assumed that at that point they already had a connection. Like Bill wouldn't be afraid to reach out to Joel. That's what I thought, but I could be wrong.
But Bill
But
is, dude, we know who Bill is. Bill's not going to admit that Bill needs help. Like, Bill only admitted he needed help as he thought he was dying, just to protect his, like his man, like his lover, his, well, they were married at this point, his boyfriend, his partner. This is why he's like, call
mm,
Joe, he'll take care of you. As in, you could see that's like a desperation. That's something that takes so much, because Bill wouldn't admit that Bill needs help. And if Bill was alone, Bill would not have called anyone. Bill would have just died. But just because there's someone else in the picture to muster up the, is that courage? I guess, yeah. It's like to admit, fuck, I can't do it. Please call this guy that did lend me a hand, but I never said yes to. Again, I might be reading a lot into this shit, bro. But
mm,
or they've been in contact. But yeah, when I noticed the fence and the cars behind it, I just thought, yeah, he did that himself instead of reaching out for brand new, strong, non-corrosive aluminum steel that Joel told him he could get him.
mm. Yeah. How many years? Did they say how many years passed between
Yeah, 3 years. 3 years later. That's in 2013 when
three
that
years
scene's from
later?
2013 after Tess left. They met with Tess on 2010. So 3 years later, 2013, they show you the cars. They show you Bill and Frank is running. He showed him the strawberries that he got from the exchange for the little gun, and they go to sleep. At night, the Raiders come in. That 2013.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah,
but
different
before
ways
we
to
get to
interpret it.
the,
So,
yeah, that is right, dude.
mm,
Dude, the fan base can be so divisive on some details, which is so dope, man.
you have no
It's like,
idea.
and this is purposely made. Uh, before the Raiders come in though, as
Mm.
they're eating the strawberries, Bill started to like weep, and Frank's like, "What's going on? What's wrong?" He's like, "I'm growing. I'm getting older too fast. I'm sorry."
Yeah, I'm sorry for
And
getting older faster than you.
he said, "Older means we're still here."
Yeah,
And
what a
then my boy
line,
says
right?
something else, right? As in everyone else is infected, like, and once you're infected, you can't go back because there's no vaccine. So you're just gone for your family, like you're ostracized because your family got to leave you, or you're gonna freaking infect them too. But we're still here, we're still breathing, dude. And then Bill, the wall of vulnerability. I was never this afraid before you show up, dude. These little lines from a man who have the heart of a Hulk, like that's shielded. This man is tough, and this man is just self-sufficient. To see Bill open up in these little sentences, bro, it's like, damn, like Frank really pierced through. It's like
Oh
that
yeah.
is beautiful, man.
Huh.
So yeah, the Raiders come. Great. My boy's outside. Bang, bang, shooting. He gets shot.
This dude
And
was in the middle of the road, bro. Like he
right.
didn't take any kind of cover. I'm like, Bill,
the,
please.
yeah, we can, some might interpret that as arrogance too, actually. Like, bro, it's but still, yeah, like if Frank didn't come up, my boy probably would have died, bled out, because he would not have made it back. Yeah.
Mm,
Like some might say Frank's distraction caused a shot from him turning around and say, go back in the house. But at the same time, one of these bullets was bound to hit Bill regardless, because he had no cover, like you just said.
we-
Crazy shit, bro. Crazy shit. So yeah, he tells Frank to call Joel because he thinks he's dying, of course. But they fast forward 10 years later.
mm.
Also,
And
before, as he said, yeah, I made copies of the keys. I made copies of the keys. As he was like, I'm dying, but call Joel. He'll take care of you. So 10 years later, 2023.
and Frank, He's not maimed by a gunshot or by a limb being chopped off, but of natural causes.
Mm. Frank is in a
That's
wheelchair. We don't know that yet, bro. We don't know that yet. What are you where are you going? Where are you going with this, bro? But
what are
that's
you
true. It
talking
is in 2023. You're right. It's
about?
2023. But it's I'm just gradually building it up. But yes, natural causes. And
I mean,
no, you're correct. You're correct, bro. There's natural causes. My boy get up one morning. He's like, bro, this is my last morning.
uh,
Uh, it's nice. This show is just one day, but in that one day, you can tell that it's been years, that it's been just that like that mundane day. And how they
mm,
show you a bunch of other paint boxes, like he's been painting every morning. I got to show you how like they're eating. Well, I think that's just that one detail actually. Maybe two. He's sitting down in the porch, like breathing in the morning. He gets put back in. The pills, yes, mundane, perfect. Even the pills, you have little ID, you have this is a round one, as in you can see that this is something that Bill has been doing repetitively for Frank. Like he's so accustomed that he's named the pills. This is little blue, this is little that. As in that one day they show you before my boy decide, hey, this is gonna be my last day. Like you can tell that this has been a plethora of days, of months, of this dude is just sick, and you can't blame him for that final day to be like, this is gonna be my last day. But go ahead, bro. What do you want to say?
now it's also crazy to me how they have like specified medication for whatever Frank's condition was. I think from
Mm,
what I heard in the podcast, the official
cancer?
podcast, not cancer. I want to say
What?
Parkinson's. Parkinson's disease.
Parkinson's? My boy didn't. Wait, what? When he was eating the soup. Well, I'm trying to. I know what Parkinson's is, so I'm trying to nitpick any scene that I saw that can just substantiate your statement. Hmm. I don't know, bro. I literally thought cancer because he was like, there wasn't anything to cure this even before the world fell apart. I was like, whoa, is that cancer? I don't know. This was just my interpretation. Not no, that was not even said. It can be. There's so many diseases that can be treated, but I don't know actually.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, I defaulted to Parkinson's because I think that's what I heard in the podcast, and they
The official podcast, right?
the official one, yeah. So
Then
yeah,
yes, then it's Parkinson.
yeah,
That's if the podcast of the show is telling it, then yes, that is what it is.
yeah, if
Right?
I remember it correctly. But yeah, so I mean, just but imagine though how number one, how incredibly rare medication would be in that world, and then number two, for you to have enough medication to where you can come up with the names like you mentioned and presumably give it to him on a consistent basis. That's crazy. I mean, Joel must have some serious connections to get them stuff like
Yeah, yeah, this is true. Because yeah, that is true. That is one of the things he proposed to him. Yeah, like it's medicine, books, machine parts. Yes,
that. Yeah.
it's very true. Damn, imagine orders was coming in every week. Like, I need another batch. Like, he's dying, Joel. I need another batch. Uh, yes, he gets up and say, "This will be my last day." Oh my goodness. Uh,
Frank, he was making some
mm,
crazy selfish requests, man. Like,
mm,
because did you see Bill's face when Frank said that I made up my mind to die? Like, he looked like a damn teddy bear, dude.
I
Like,
understand.
the
At the
small
same
body
time,
twitches. Oh,
I know. I know, dude, but at the same time, I couldn't blame him. They're just torture. Like,
yeah, he went into like gut wrenching detail of what he wanted Bill to do. Like,
gut wrenching, bro. Come
yeah,
on, it was
bro.
just.
Do you remember what he said? Take me to a
I just
beach.
watched the episode.
We'll
Yeah,
get
go ahead. Go
married.
ahead.
You'll cook me dinner.
Okay.
We'll crush up
Okay.
these pills, put them in my wine. I'll drink it.
Okay.
You'll hold
Beside
my
from the
hand in
last one,
yours while I die in your arms, bro. Come on.
okay, dude.
That's
Let's take all these requests. Take me to my place. That's a regular request for two people that love each other. Even though we know Bill liked to stay in his home, Bill doesn't like to branch out anywhere. Let's finally get married, dude. I'm dying, but I've been with you for like what over freaking 13 years now. Like I want to make it official before I go. It's like, what else? Cook me dinner. Who else has been cooking since day one? Bill.
yeah, but
um, like, bro, what do you?
I mean,
How is this?
can you deny that's those are some pretty heavy sentences that he's throwing
There's
at
only
Joe?
one heavy sentence in there, bro. You're gonna be
Yeah,
the one to kill me.
come on,
What,
man. These are some heavy
dude?
words. These are some
Dude,
left and right hooks, dude.
what? Dude, Frank has
Come
not been
on.
able to walk for 10 years. Wait, no, we don't know if it's 10 years. 10 years later, Frank is not walking. Obviously, my boy's been doing way more than that for Frank. Also, your
What?
dying wish as someone who can't walk would be this to your wife or husband. You would think that's excessive, or you would assume, like, if you're watching this, you're the viewer, just like we are for this. What?
I'm
Bro.
just saying he could, Bill. He could be a little more. I don't know, conservative, Bill. Because I mean,
Honestly,
Bill. Yeah.
devil's advocate at the same time, Bill did save like this dude's life, and Bill did give this dude a life. If it wasn't for Bill, homeboy would have been hungry, eaten by some infected, or become infected. So that is true. In a way, for the shelter for 13 years, allowing you to make friends, feed you, have you drink good wine, that probably should have been sufficient. But dude, we know who Frank is. Frank liked to paint. Frank is just what's a good word? Frank got standards, bro. Yeah, that's why she told. That's why Frank told homeboy on the first day, "I'm not just sleeping around." No,
My
his
boy.
character is just, it fits Frank to a T for that to be his request. Actually, he should have been more like, take
No,
me to the
yeah,
Eiffel Tower.
I agree. I agree that if it's Frank's character, because
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
still it's still.
bro. Listen, man, these are some bad vibes, man. Like the women listeners right here, man. Come on, they're gonna start wondering,
Okay,
what does
that's
Christian think is excessive?
I don't know about all that.
Actually, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. Oh my goodness, honestly, but it was a lot, bro. Knowing that homeboy, not only that too, putting him through all this, and also making him kill you. That is insane. But
Yeah.
yes, let me be on your corner for this one, because I don't want to lose a friend over this podcast, and this also would be the end of this podcast. So yeah, it is.
Uh,
It is valid. I can see how some people would see that.
mm.
You're right to that point.
And that the somber music that they played uh, throughout, like the whole montage of Bill fulfilling
It's
these
the last
requests.
one.
That
Yeah.
I don't remember if that got me to tear up, but
Ugh.
I know it was they handled that scene incredibly well. The emotions in it were
Yep.
palpable. Like
No
you
words,
could
by the way. Just scenes.
yeah,
Yeah.
no words, just
And
scenes and music.
exactly in the order that he requested. They're walking. They get
Yeah.
married. He does dinner. It's just nah, man. These two are in love, man.
And even
Uh.
the dinner, if you remember the very first dinner that
Exactly.
yeah,
After he tastes the food and he say, this is good. And then
right.
the wine, how he brings the food, both plates and late. Yep, just he
Yep.
he recreated their first freaking, which was literally like their first date, if you want to see it as that. It was their first
Yeah.
encounter.
And the only thing that changed was instead of Frank being at the far end of the table and Bill being at the far end, Bill was now right
They
next
were
to Frank.
closer. Yes, which
Uh,
which shows the intimacy, because that was the gap, bro. If we're trying to
mm,
personify these things, that was the freaking that was what was, because there were two strangers. My boy was closed off. Now he's in the inner circle, bro. He's in the wolf pack hangover reference. Like it's just like, oh my goodness.
mm, mm.
No, it was dope. It was dope. Loved it. Loved it.
Yeah,
And of
and
course,
oh yeah,
go ahead. Go ahead.
okay, yeah, real quick. You know Nick Offerman, right? The actor who's playing Bill.
He is in Where the Millers, isn't he?
He's in a
Ah,
lot of stuff.
dude, I'm picking up on Bill just now. Yes, Bill's in Where the Millers. Dude, I really don't want to get this wrong, or this podcast would probably get canceled. But still, just, yeah. What's
Yeah,
wrong with him?
he's in a lot of stuff, but he's also a comedian. And there's one thing that
That's
Craig
him.
Mason,
That is
um,
him.
yeah. So Neil Druckmann, of course, he made the game and he's working on the show. But then his partner is a guy named Craig Mason, and he made some really good shows. I never saw them, but I think he made Chernobyl, a show called Chernobyl,
Mm, I know what he's
and
about. Yeah.
yeah, it's very highly rated. But he was saying in either an interview or the podcast, I forget, but he said comedians are very fit to play emotional roles
Makes
because
sense.
in order for you to be funny, and to have an understanding of what it takes to be funny, you need a certain hyper awareness about you. So, an awareness of the human condition, an awareness of the irony in life, and having this awareness, it naturally equips you to understand immense pain, or to understand the immense pain and the immense joy that comes with life. So, I think his performance in this episode is a testament to that statement, because he looked devastated in some of those scenes, when
Yeah.
especially the scene when Frank is saying this is my last day. That he looks like he just lost a family member in real life,
Mm-hmm.
and he
Mm-hmm.
brought those emotions to the scene. And I really liked Craig Mason's comment on comedians, because I think it's very true. Comedians are
Top tier, bro.
incredibly
Yeah,
smart
talented.
people.
That is
Yeah,
true.
yeah.
Hmm. It's funny. Where him and where the Millers is hilarious. It's rare too that I see comedians play like other roles.
Right.
Uh, but dude, I've pitched you this already. You probably never seen it. The Gift with Jason Bateman. Oh my goodness, like he's a bully. Jason Bateman, comedian from friggin' what can I think of any Killer Bosses, horrible bosses. 1 and 2. Jason Bateman from a ton of other freaking The Change Up, I think with Ryan Reynolds. But anyway, he plays a movie where he's a bully, and he just holy shit. You're like, oh my goodness, that is crazy. This man plays the role like I was freaking shit. This thing, it was like so like ambiguous to me. I was like, is this the same person? But nah, that is true. Comedians are like shapeshifters, bro. Because they
Mm.
understand the task, they understand the emotions, they understand what they need to tap into for their roles.
Yep.
It's beautiful shit. Um, but yeah, and then he crushed the thing in front of him, and of course he puts it in a drink, the cup, the pills, and he drank it. And he notices right after, which is so cute, tells you like how much he knows his partner.
Mm.
He's like, there were pills in both of these, weren't there? And he's like, enough to kill a horse or some shit like that.
It's like, sheesh.
Mm. And then he's like, I do not support this. I should be furious, but
Mm.
from an objective point of view, it's incredibly romantic. I'm like, this
Come
man
on.
is so like the character. He like oh, he just
The writing in this episode is very on point. It's
his body language saying these things too, holding his hand and that little smirk, like it is. I guess it is romantic. It's like
yeah.
damn. Which let's think about this for a second too, bro. Bill is also
Mm.
old. Frank
Yeah.
is old. Bill is old. Like it really wouldn't make sense for Bill to keep going. Keep going for what, bro? Like
Yeah. Yeah.
oh, it reminded me of the scene with the well, and then they go up. They go up to go die together, basically in the bedroom. But it reminded me of like the Notebook.
The
How
Notebook. Ooh.
have you ever seen the Notebook?
I have not.
Mm. Well, yeah, it's apparently it's one of the greatest love stories. But yeah, so the main characters, their older selves end up dying together, the same way that these two, not the same way. It's a whole different thing. Like Noah's, I don't know how. Ellie, she was sick, but anyway, the Notebook just yeah, it's this nice love story, but just it's top tier up there. Um, even though home, oh, it's funny. Okay, I'm gonna branch off for a little bit,
Hmm.
and this is like completely irrelevant because I was me and my girl talk about these things all the time. Uh, nobody like ever like care about like the innocent person that like get cheated on or hurt when we're watching these movies, as long as the main characters end up together. And it's like the Notebook that I just mentioned. Like this girl literally like just left her fiance and was freaking like just with some other guy, well, her first love for like a whole freaking weekend. Like nobody talk about the fiance that's heartbroken, but like the Notebook just is known as just this beautiful love story between Rachel McAdams' character and freaking Bradley. Whoa, Ryan Gosling. And it's like, bro, it's like so messed up. Like it almost feels like Hollywood writers, they're like involuntarily just promoting like selfishness and like and consideration, like in a world where we already have like that's saturated with shit like that. Like just reinforcing the idea that collateral damage is irrelevant when it comes to like matters of the heart. Like a freaking like a pebble skipping on like other pebbles like on your journey to find like your true love and shit. But in
Hmm.
reality, those pebbles that get stepped on, like they sink down. So you're hurting on your way to your true love. And unfortunately, I can't take full credit for that analogy. That's from Money Heist, Denver's dad, like the pebble analogy. And it's just like it's crazy, man. Like these writers, like either they write you off, like for example, on like This Is Us, like all of Sophie's boyfriends just get written off whenever Kevin comes back. The early seasons, it's like nobody cares that someone got their heart broken just so a character can end up with a character fan favorite or the two main characters, or they make them just like incredibly stupidly understanding, like the victims, like the movie The Notebook. Her fiance is like, you know what? I guess it's your first love. Like, I understand there's something about your first love that like you can never get over. And it's like, bro, you're the one that got cheated on. But anyway, dude, I'm digressing crazily. Dude, you know what, Christian? Like moving forward, bro, if I'm going down these tangents that are so fucking perpendicular to what we're supposed to be talking about, you can just pull me out of them. Like this is like Inception. I'm in the freaking third dream layer right now, so you can just pull me out. So I apologize to the listeners. Like this is not a podcast about freaking emotional collateral damage in Hollywood movies. It's just, this is you came here for The Last of Us. So
Came here for emotional collateral damage in The Last
yeah,
of Us specifically.
let's just stick to The Last of Us, man. Like, and then they go upstairs, bro. They die together, and then
Ooh,
Joe shows up with Ellie.
he does. He does.
Where is Bill? Where is Frank? Bill, Frank.
You notice
Ellie found him
the
later.
yeah, you notice the details too, like the candles, they've long since melted. The
Yeah,
dust
like
coats the
yeah,
furniture. The meat
the
is
flies
rotted.
hovering over the food. Yeah.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Like they've been dead for a while.
Yep.
I think August 24, 2013, but I don't know the date because they were just giving us years because that's when Bill wrote that letter.
Mm.
Um, dude, I used to hate the world and I was happy when everyone died, but I was wrong because there was one person worth saving. So I saved him and protected him. Oh, like this man's been repurposed, bro, from
Mm.
an individualistic point of view. Like, it's just me. Like I fuck everyone. Like I can survive on my own. I'm self-sufficient. To I'm now a protector. Like I need to do everything I can to live for that person, and even if it comes to it, die for them, which he did. It's just the change in role once Frank steps into his life. Like
Mm.
he says that so well in this letter. Like
And you
until I found someone
know,
worth saving.
and you know that Joel, he feels that in the bottom of his soul, that this is that he it gives him a glimpse of
Yes,
a future that he is barreling towards.
robbed of. Yeah. Just,
Yeah.
but also too, man, that's true. Because he said, I hope you keep Tess safe, bro. Oh man, Tess, bro, Tess.
Mm.
Oh my goodness. Keep Tess safe. Damn.
Joel needed some fresh air after that.
Dude. Nah, even a monster, bro. Nah, you can be as freaking like rigid as possible. Nah, there's some shit that hit deep. Even said from a man that you know is not that way, but knows that you like knows who like it's like the silent code. Like Bill, from the little interaction he had with Joel, know exactly that hey, we are alike. That's why I even
Mm.
said I wouldn't like it if mine brought someone. It's like, oh man,
Mm.
damn. Come back in the house. Fuck. Oh yeah. It's like also before that, uh Yes, he said use the weapons to keep Tess safe. You can have all my weapons, which is great. He steps out, of course, needed the air. Um, One thing too, right? So before he comes back in to the house, I think he took the air that he needed. He went like far out, like he went to the garage to check on the battery because this is how this whole thing started.
Hmm.
He doesn't find the battery, but he said, "I'm currently making a battery from the sulf, which is I'm assuming the sulfuric acid." I Now, do you think that's the reason why they zoomed in on that on the first scene when Bill was climbing up once Fedra has been gone? They zoom in on two things: the guns and ammo books and the sulfuric acid, which he had like gallons of.
Hmm.
As in, even if they've run out of the battery, there's ingredients here to make it another one.
So you're saying that he was like making a battery all this time?
No, as in he only had one, but enough ingredients to rebuild it. Enough like
Hmm.
ingredients because Joel said I'm making a battery. I'm currently in the process of making one because he opened the fridge and there's or that probably has nothing to do. Like I don't know if sulfuric acid goes in batteries. I actually do not know. But just the fridge it said sulf twice. Something labeled sulf, something else is sulf, and Joel smiled when he saw it. And I thought maybe that's used. Actually, I'm curious. Sulfuric
Hmm.
acid to make batteries. Well, let me know what you thought. What you thought. What you thought.
To be honest, I didn't catch that at all. So if
Oh,
that's
literally. No, dude, that's the thing. I just Googled it. Sulfuric acid literally is battery acid.
oh, so maybe you're right. Hmm.
It's important to note that battery owners should never add sulfuric. Never mind. During normal operation, batteries will only consume water and not sulfuric acid.
Hmm.
Hmm.
I mean,
Never mind.
that sounds like a crazy complicated thing to
Yeah.
attempt.
Yeah. I take that back, I guess. Interesting.
But I mean, it sounds like there's intentionality though with if they're zooming in and focusing on these.
Oh, bro, this is so contradicting. One people ask from on Google is like, don't put it. Another one's like, yeah, you should only put between 4.8 to 5.3 millimeters. I'm assuming this M or meters. I don't know, but yeah, it might be for it. It might not be. Irrelevant, I guess. But still, yeah, he said he walked back in and told Ellie, yeah, I'm currently making a battery. I'm going to try to find my brother in Wyoming, Tommy. He used to be a firefly.
Hmm.
And then he told her about the three new rules. Yeah, it's like damn, because she was about to finally apologize. Well, it's not finally. She doesn't owe an apology, but it's a sad moment. Like, damn, you actually lost Tess, and wow, like I'm very sorry. Like we've been reading this letter to Bill and Frank, who knew how much Tess meant to you. So she was about to, and he freaking cut it. It's like one thing, we keep this to ourselves. We're not gonna talk about Tess. Don't let anyone know like your arm issue because they will shoot you, and just do what I say. And she's like, yeah, damn.
Yeah, and he asks Ellie to show him her arm one last time, and
Mm-hmm.
I took that as like a he wanted a final confirmation that she's the real deal before he fully
Yeah.
commits to taking her across the
Yeah.
country. So
Imagine the spread is much more, and he just shoots her.
the end of the
Like, all
show.
right, yeah, it's the end of the show. Um, Dude, something
Mm.
to touch up on when he gets to he comes back, he's on his senses, he gets the key to go down there. Dude, unfortunately, I pay like so much like attention to details that I say like I'm involuntarily looking for things that are not adding up.
Mm.
As I was watching this, I'm like, okay, first episode, the end of the episode, the 80s song that comes on signaling, whoa,
We could keep that
all right.
in.
Yeah. The 80s song that comes in signaling this trouble. I'm like, oh my goodness. Are Frank and Bill going to take that pill and then get invaded by raiders and they're already half dead because they're about to die soon? They've literally injected so much medicine to themselves to kill them. Are they going to send the cry for help to Joel as they're dying because they're already dying and the raiders are here? Which I'm assuming wouldn't make much sense because you're dying anyway. Like throughout that whole day, throughout that whole dinner, I'm like, some shit's about to go down for them to send a signal to
Mm.
Joel and Tess. Nothing ever happens. Dude, when nothing happened, the next morning, Tess comes in, Ellie comes in with Joel to inspect the house. Dude, I was still watching the show, but so upset. I'm like, how did the fuck did they make such a stupid mistake? Like, how did they not know? Like, why would you show us these people sending signals and there's no freaking signals? I'm like, I'm about to call
I
Christian right now.
I
No, I know. That's what's up. What are you saying?
yeah, I don't think that was a mistake. I think that was
I know. I understand. No, no, it wasn't. I'm gonna get to it, dude. Of course.
okay.
That's what I'm saying. I was like, how can they make the stupid mistake? But once Joel goes down there with Tess, oh, rest in peace. Once Joel goes down there with Ellie, and then he's like, oh yeah, Bill didn't reset the countdown every few weeks because he's dead. So therefore, the 80s place would run. I was like, oh my
Hmm.
goodness, these dudes are freaking good. I was like, I was so happy because that literally salvaged the show for me. Dude, I would have stopped watching the show. I'm like, I'm like, how do you make such a stupid mistake? But to clarify that, oh, I was like, dude, I like jumped up when he said that. I was like, yes. Like, there's a reason they got the song because he
Mm.
never recalibrated this thing because he was just dead. Like, oh, I was like, yes. I had so much hope for this that I thought, please don't make some stupid error.
Hmm.
Like, oh my goodness,
Yeah, that would have been a bad
dude.
error to make.
Right, but people might not have caught on that because would you have remembered that? No, you probably would have, but I'm assuming a lot of people might not have because it was such a last minute scene of the first episode. I mean, of course, the crazy Last of Us fan, I'm assuming you guys have thoroughly watched every scene, so you guys would have definitely picked up on that. But it was just kind of minor in this at the same time because so much other stuff has been going on since episode 2 and then episode 3. But still, the fact that they tied back in, I freaking loved it because
Hmm.
I was, dude, I was literally on. I was like, if this episode ends and they don't clarify this shit, I'm gonna be so upset. And I was like, yes, it happened for a reason. Let's go.
Yeah,
Dude, I was thrilled.
I'm trying to think if there's any plot hole in the upcoming episodes that they never tied up. Uh,
Well, dude, there's a whole other season, but also upcoming episodes, dude. I haven't watched them yet, so chill, chill.
oh no, 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 of course I'm not gonna spoil, but just to ease your mind when it comes to whether or not they're gonna mess up. I mean, I can't think of
Yeah,
anything now, but yeah,
that's good. Perfect.
yeah.
Um, yeah, and then on that wall, still in the basement, he's like, "Don't grab no gun." That is Ellie. She went to take the shower. He took a shower. Ellie found a gun, which is not disobedience because he told her not to grab a gun on the wall. He never said any other gun you find in the house. So, so, so yeah, she picked up and hid the gun and got in the car for the first freaking time, which was so cool. The way she's like, "Oh my goodness, it's like a spaceship, this and that and this," and he's like, "Oh, this is just an old Chevy." It's like, oh, this is just a beat up car, bro. It's fine.
Mhm.
Yeah, and then she finds this tape. Wait. As I'm quickly going through these final things, did you pick up on anything that you want to say?
No, no, you were doing pretty good.
Rich gang. But yeah, she finds this tape, just picks it up. It's like a I don't know who Linda Rostan is actually. I didn't even Google Homegirl. I probably should have.
She
Um,
is the author of or the songwriter of the song Bill was singing in the beginning on the piano.
which ties this in freaking perfectly.
Yeah.
And then he's like, wait, this is pretty good. Leave it on. And then she say, well, I guess it's better than nothing. And then he smiled, bro.
Joel
And
smiled?
then she noticed him smiling. Yeah,
Mm.
when she said, I guess it's better than nothing. And it's like he smiled. Joel smiles a bit, as in like, oh, that's so funny. You think it's better than like this is like dope shit. And you're like, it's better than nothing. You're just a kid. You don't know anything. But like in a funny way, like this kid. I was like, oh, this girl don't know what she's talking about. But she notices. And I was like, oh, that's so cute. Like to me, I'm like, that's like Joel slowly opening up even more, even though we've been seeing that gradually in this episode, like not wanting her to have his gun. Like I already said, maybe he's possessive, or not wanting her to see a bunch of like dead bones of innocence that yeah, he even accentuated on that. Yeah, they're like, she said they're not even infected. And he was like, probably they weren't. That's true. But infected people that are dead can't get infected. So he has sheltered her. And now that little smile is like he's opening up to her, is what I interpreted this as. And again, dude, I might be freaking reading so much into this shit. We already know Pierre's a freaking stretcher. So that might not even be it. But I don't know.
Mm.
That's what I thought when I saw just that like millisecond of just him going and her looking and smile again because she's like, oh man, this dude might start liking me now.
I agree. I agree. I didn't catch that, but if that did happen, then that is exactly what.
I didn't catch that. If that did happen, you call me a liar, bro. Man, go watch the last freaking 3 minutes, bro. But regardless,
That's
dude,
that's in line.
attention to detail, bro. You
Yeah.
notice I'm disrespected that you think I would just make this up.
No, I'm
That's
just
it. That's a wrap. Listen to all of our listeners. This is the last episode. This friendship's not gonna make it. So is this podcast.
it's a wrap. This is the last one.
Okay, dude. No, seriously. If you rewatch it, just rewatch the last 15 seconds of this. No. Okay. Last thing. The
Mm.
view from the window, the
Mm.
pessimist in me. I'm like, oh my goodness, are these two not dead but infected and just up there? But then I'm like, nah, they
Ooh.
would have heard. They would have heard. Because that view from the window was so long.
You
I was like,
know,
please.
so okay, you wouldn't make this connection because you never played the games, but
Damn.
in the games, when you played a game before, when like you load it up and then there's like a start screen, you know what that is, right? Like,
A star screen?
yeah, like you press play on the game and then it starts loading everything and then it gives you like this screen where it says press start to continue. Have you seen that before?
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So for The Last of Us, their press start to continue screen is this shot of a window that looks very similar to the window that uh you were just referring to. So I
Yeah.
think it's a nod to that because it's a very iconic image that The Last of Us has of that window. So that might be why they lingered a little bit. I think I remember hearing on the official podcast too that they at one point they were debating whether or not they should end every single episode looking out some kind of window as a callback to that start screen for the game. So
Hmm.
if it stood out to you, that might be why. Because there's might be some intentionality there.
Okay. That makes sense. Yeah, to just keep everything just like linear. Yeah.
Yeah.
Game in show,
Yeah.
which they've been doing freaking amazing. I've never played a video game, but this show
By the
so
way,
far, bro. What?
this whole Bill like scene or this Bill episode, it was completely different in the game. Vastly
Oh,
different. Like we never even got to meet Frank in the game.
damn.
We just saw in the game it turned out I don't know. Do you want to hear this? Because it is different, but I don't know if you want to.
Dude, I don't mind.
Okay, so the in the game we find out that Frank hung himself because he had like an argument with Bill, and then he decided to leave Bill. And as you go exploring the city, you run into Frank's body with Bill. So like Bill is one of your companions. He's following you throughout the city. You enter a house and you see Frank hung himself on a rope. So,
Oh,
and there was a very very subtle hint that that Bill was gay. It was extremely subtle, and it could be easy to miss. But in the show, they fully leaned into that being a part of who Bill is, and they just
okay.
decided to uh, show a different angle to that. And I think they pulled it off extremely well because they diverted heavily from the source material in this episode, but it paid so much. It did the game justice incredibly
Understood.
well. So
No, these people are dope, man. And this was a very good episode.
yeah,
All three. Fuck. All three were good, man. Shit.
yeah.
What show was like this? I think Money Heist was like that too. It started off climactic. Altered Carbon to me was like that too. Billions, bro. Every episode of Billions, I'm on the edge of my seat. Um, Westworld was like that too, actually. Yeah, dude. These shows, nah, just love it. We love it, man.
I think I think the do you know does the name Haley Gross sound familiar to you?
Never heard of her,
If I'm not mistaken, I think she helped write Westworld or Westeros,
bro.
and she
Um,
mhm.
Wait, finish, because I know the writers of Westworld. That's what I was gonna bring up, but
Yeah,
finish.
and Haley Gross was a huge part of the writing for The Last of Us Part Two.
Mm-mm.
So,
Are those writers? Because bro, writers of Westworld is Christopher Nolan's brother and his wife,
uh,
and writers or directors. Well, dude, let's see. Because I was talking to my girl. I was like, dude, Westworld's so good. I wonder who's behind Westworld. We're like, holy shit, it's Christopher Nolan's brother. We're like, this makes sense. Um, Interesting. That might be his wife.
mm,
Westworld writers: Jonathan Nolan, Lisa Joy, which is Jonathan Nolan and his wife, Michael Crit, Haley Gross. Haley Gross. Yeah,
Haley
she's one of them.
Gross.
You okay?
Ooh, and the writing
Yeah.
for she's something else, man.
No, Westworld's great, dude. I think I pitched that to you too. Actually, I was also yeah, you should definitely look into that.
I never saw
It's
it.
beautiful, beautiful concept. Freaking love the show. Um, yeah, basically just this the billionaire that plays God. No, that's such an ill description. Yeah, this fantastic fantasy driven world where rich ass folks go to that have folks that are not folks that are just like hosts, but in people's bodies that they get to live out their fantasies. But of course, these hosts, these bodies that are created by the humans, start to develop consciousness and freaking take over.
Mm,
Just beautiful shit. Westworld is dope. Um, but yeah, dude, as far as episode 3, I feel like we have beat this one down as hard as we can.
mm-hmm. I agree. I agree.
And I will see you in the next episode, dude.
All right.
It's been real.
It's been real. Bye.
All right, dude. Bye.